Hello everyone, and welcome again to How Hutch Cooks. Tonight, again, we're going to try something for a first. Tonight we're going to try and do a main course and a dessert. Before I get on with that, they know who they are. And this week at work, up popped a reminder that it was a work colleague's birthday on the 21st of May this previous week. As soon as I saw that, I said out loud, that's a mum's birthday. Actually, I said it's my mum's birthday, but that doesn't suit this segment. So that's my mum's birthday, and another colleague poured up and said, well, that's my grandmother's birthday as well. Although she might not be with us still, that's her birthday. So this week's They Know Who They Are, even if they don't, is to all those who were born on the 21st of May. So happy birthday to all those born on the 21st of May, whether they know it or not. Okay, on with the show. As you can see from the clock behind, we're a bit later tonight. I had a little bit of travel to do today and got home a bit late. But that's not going to stop the show. The show must go on, they say. Tonight's cook is hopefully a quicker cook than usual, and it's dedicated to kids. These are childhood memories, and they're probably a bit like fairy bread, because I think some of the adults will like them anyway, even if they don't admit it. So before I get into what we're cooking, I'm just going to put on the potatoes, because it will involve some of Vicky's potatoes. So we'll cut these up and get them underway before we get into the main cook, because they might take a little bit longer. Into the cold water, as we went through before, we put the potatoes just covered and we bring them to a boil before we prepare them for the oven. Okay, so that's the potatoes on. Tonight we're doing my childhood favourite and everyone's childhood favourite, chops Hawaiian as a main dish, and for sweets we're going to have apple sponge. So I think we need to start first with the apple sponge. And the apple sponge isn't a terribly difficult recipe, I hope, but time will tell. And I'll cook this sponge, and I hope I get it like Mum got it. You know, it blows up at the top, and then as you go through the sponge, it just gets a little bit less cooked, until you get right to the apple, and it's nearly uncooked, like it was when we used to lick Grandma's bowl. Anyway, to make this easy, I've got a big can of pie fruit apple sliced from Ardmona, and we just put those into our bowl. I should be able to do that. You'd reckon I'd be able to get it out of the can in the first place. Anyway, a bit of spoon, give it a bit of persuasion, and we'll get that. Before we make the batter for the sponge batter, or whatever they call it. Anyway, some nice Ardmona apples, cooking apples. Just spread them out evenly. I could add a bit of cinnamon or maybe not nutmeg, but a bit of cinnamon on there might be nice as well, but we're just keeping this plain and simple today. I did this on a golf trip once and people were pretty happy with it. I think we go back, as we get older, we go close back to our childhood. So hopefully it works out again tonight. To make the batter, we put I've got to read it. I think it's I've forgotten this. No, I haven't. 1 cup of flour, self-raising flour. And I've even got out the measuring cup this week, which is probably another first for How Hutch Cooks. So in goes a cup of flour. I've set the oven to 190 degrees. So there's about a cup of flour, 190 degrees. That should, and it'll probably take about half an hour to cook, which will suit fine with the chops Hawaiian. So we'll get rid of that lid. To the half cup of flour, we add, to the cup of flour, we add half a cup of sugar. And I'll measure that in the cup rather than in the half cup measure. That's plenty. And we add, let's put that on before we lose the lot. And get that off the bench. And we need half a cup of milk. And that should be pretty easy. Yeah, that'll work. Half a cup of milk. And put the lid on that before I spill that. Get the flour out of the way. Flour can make a real mess, can't it? Get the flour out of the road. Get the measuring thing out of the road. And to the batter we add 1 egg. Plonk. There's the egg. And we put that over here to throw out in a minute. And we now mix that up into a smooth batter, just to put on the top and in the oven. Nothing could be easier, you'd reckon. Even I should be able to do this. So just give this a good whisk. Try and keep most of it in the bowl until we get a nice even batter. My wife's an expert at this. Not something I've done a lot. I've done it on the golf trip. Didn't seem to work out. Fine. Alright, that's coming into a reasonable batter at the moment. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, won't do it any harm. Those, I can just hear those potatoes starting to boil, so they'll be ready to be Vicky sliced as we saw in one of the previous episodes, and put into the oven when they're parboiled. And that'll be pretty good. Alright. Got most of these lumps. I used caster sugar, so hopefully that's degranulated. There's a new word for it, degranulated. Look that up in the Funkin' Wagon. All good. Got to stick a finger in. That is terrific when it's just cooked, just undercooked. Alright, pour that over the top. I'll just turn those down a bit, that's okay. Scrape this out. Scrape this out. I love licking this bowl. Alright, beautiful. Just make sure it gets to the edges, or I don't think it matters too much. And we'll whack that in the oven. Whack that in the oven. Might just set this oven up one tray higher. Shouldn't be too much longer. Got these slide-in thingos. Just got to get them right. Or else you'll see, like we did the other week, everything falls off. All good. When we did the sausage rolls, we had a bit of trouble putting that on, but we got it right again. Into the oven goes the sponge. That's meant to be in there for 30 minutes or so. And we'll just play that by ear and taste and sight. There's a bit more of that to lick. How good's that? Alright, on with the chops Hawaiian. This is another kid's favourite. There's only 2 of us here tonight, so I'm only doing 5 chops, 3 for me and 2 for Wendy. And Wendy's will probably go to the dog. So I cut 5 slices, decent slices of tomato. for these chops Hawaiian. I might have to do this horizontally. Not take my finger off. So just cut up 5 slices of tomato. Beautiful. These were bought a bit underripe, but they've ripened up okay. So they should be okay. So we need 5 slices of tomato for this. Just put there's a 5th. Put these to the side for the minute. We need 5 pieces of bacon. You can buy bacon, all sorts of stuff now. This is a little, maybe not fatty enough, but it's not a bad size for chops Hawaiian. So, pardon me, 5 slices of bacon, that'll be good. Stack them on top of there. There's not a lot to this, not a lot to this at all, but it's usually okay actually. It's usually okay. And I forgot, and I'll come back, I've hidden the pineapple. Because what makes things Hawaiian, late find, is pineapple. Just close that. We get the pineapple. I like it in its juices. Get our cast iron wok that we're, fry pan that we're really falling in love with. And we've got 5 chump chops. Now I love chump chops. I reckon they're better than even, I've forgotten their name. I'll think of it a minute. The good chops. 5 chump chops. I tend to forget names when I'm on this show, and that's not good. 5 chump chops. Like so, just organise them in your pan however you will. On top of the chump chops. Now there's lots of debate about this. I don't have a favourite way. What order you put this in, except I like the pineapple on top. So you put a piece of bacon on each chop, and that lets the flow. I might salt those chops a bit. That'll give it a bit of kick. No, not kick, a bit of something. Meat loves salt, salt loves meat. We'll turn those over. That was a good thought. Late, but good. Bit of salt. Probably didn't need that much because some will come out of this bacon that we just whack on top of the chops. Beautiful. Put that on top of the chops. Piece of tomato on each. Now I've cut these pretty thick. They don't have to be this thick, and often you can just maybe put 2 thinner pieces on, however you like to do it. And then what I do is I get the pineapple out of the tin and I cut it in half. I think I'll do that again. And then you sort of weave them, each piece together on top. So a half, and the circles go into the halves go into the hole. Cut these ones. Oops, that one's lost a bit. Get another piece out. Lucky I didn't want to do too many more. There's only 6 or 7 pieces of pineapple in this tin. Never knew how many pieces of pineapple were in a tin before. Now I know. That's 5, and that would have been 6 pieces. Alright, so there's not much more to this dish than that, but boy does it taste alright if you like chops Hawaiian. And I know the kids will. It's a bit like fairy bread, like I said. The kids love it, and so do the adults. So we put that on the stove on a medium heat. I've got it on about 5. It'll take an hour, half an hour or so. We put on the all-purpose lid and just let that steam and cook away, and that'll be all right. The potatoes are ready for the Vicky's cut. I'll do those. I'll put them on the tray in the oven. You don't need to see that. and we'll be back in about half an hour to see how things are progressing. Thanks so far. We'll catch you soon. If I can turn that off. Hello again, and we're back to start dishing up. Everything looks like it's coming together nicely, and we'll start bringing it together. Yes, we will. To start with, I'm just going to chop up a bit of this spinach, just a rough chop of spinach. I reckon that might be nice under the chops, and I'll just saute them down a bit, wilt them a bit. The chops are looking ready. I'll just, I think I'll put them onto a plate while there's a lot of juice coming out of these chops, and I want that spinach to absorb that juice, and we'll put and get that flavour back, some of that flavour back. Familiar smells for those that have had chops Hawaiians before, but that's no use on this show, smells. No use whatsoever. But I'm looking forward to it. Alright, nothing special about this. It looks almost the same as when it went in. I'm just going to put this into those juices and wilt it for a few minutes, a minute or so, before we start dishing up. I've put the cream on the Vicky's potatoes. Something's whistling at me, but I don't know what it is. Might be the microwave. No. What's that? No, we'll find out. Right. Stage left. The sponge is looking like it's done. I'll bring it out and give you a quick look, and we'll let it cool down. This looks like it'll be terrific with a bit of, shit, it's not if I lose it all. You see that sponge? We've got some nice vanilla ice cream. Hard to beat apple sponge. Hopefully that's just got a little bit of just cooked batter underneath, and it'll be perfect. Potatoes are in there. What on earth's that whistle? Nah, maybe it's the stove. Alright, just have a look at this spinach and we'll start plating up. Just give this a little bit of a stir around. That'll pick up some of those nice juices. It's all wilted nicely. Beautiful. Alright, we can turn that pretty much off now. And we'll start plating. Here we go. If I get a towel, there we go. Right, there's a lot of nice juice in there. Just keep that flavour going. A bit of spinach to put the chops on. It's not going to be the most beautiful looking meal, but it's all about the flavour, I think. And this will take you back to your childhood. It takes me back to my childhood. And, you know, I think the adults will like it, like I said earlier. Turn the stove off. Good. Stove off. Put up a chop. Now these chops aren't caramelised off like you're used to. They're more like a grey stewed chop, but don't worry about that. Do not worry about that. The kids will love them anyway. So 2 chops for Wendy, and I love 3. On top of that spinach. And to finish it off, well, first of all, just for myself, because I love peas, I just quickly microwave some peas, so we'll spoon those out onto the dish. Can't understand people that don't like peas, and rumour is green is good. But everyone to their own. So the peas are out. only thing left now is the Vicky's potatoes. Pull those out. Beautiful. Beautiful. I might try a little bit of cheese on one of these too next week, 1 week. They don't, no, they look like they could do with a taste of cheese. That'll put a bit of flavour on them. So 2 for Wendy. It's a little, ooh, that was hot. A little bit of cream. Just put that over the potatoes. Oh, how good's this going to be tonight? Back to your childhood. Oops, I left the door open, not to worry. Back to your childhood with first course chops Hawaiian with Vicky's potatoes and peas on wilted spinach. Broke the cutlery drawer, that's not going to help. Turn the oven off. That's a plate of food if ever you've seen one. And thank you for watching the first main course and dinner and sweet cooking cook on How Hutch Cooks. The kids will love it. See you next week.